The jazz legend and Grammy-winning artist Kenny G is set to serenade fans in Singapore. The American saxophonist has sold more than 75 million records and is among the most successful musicians of all time.
Yeah, but even artists faced new challenges, from streaming to AI and now TikTok. In an exclusive interview with CNA, Kenny G shares how he stays in tune with the times.
There you go, Jill. Just for you.
Welcome, Kenny. What a wonderful welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, when I heard that we were going to be talking together, I asked my friends, when was the last time you heard a Kenny G song? Where were you? So my best friend said, I was on the Great Wall of China.
Oh, wow.
Wonder of the World,
Yeah.
Kenny G song. So do you still get those moments where you are surprised by how much your music impacts people's lives and they remember?
No, that's pretty special, though, to have my music
Yeah.
playing there. Yes, because I know where the music came from. So it's me in my little studio room in my house in California, and I'm thinking of whatever I'm thinking about and making my melodies the way I make them. And somehow those melodies are touching people's hearts in all sorts of places in the world, and it's pretty special to know that. Yeah,
it is special, and that's why I brought it up, because that Great Wall story kind of underpins your remarkable popularity in Asia, not just in China, but also Singapore, Malaysia. That's where you're heading next. What do you think resonates so strongly in Asia about your music, and how does it impact the way you make music and how you do business in this part of the world?
Good questions. Well, the first part about why the music resonates, I think it's because from what I hear of Asian music, it's very melodic, very melody-oriented. And so I think that my music, because of the melodies, people can connect to it, because it's not just a bunch of random, jazzy notes. Although we do a lot of those things in our live show, which is great. But when I record my music, it's the melody that's the focal point, and I think that and when I've listened to the melodies of Asia, I like them.
Yeah.
So I think that because I like them and they are pleasant to my ear, whatever I come up with, which is also pleasant to my own ear,
Which will translate
to them. Yeah.
For example, Mandarin's a very melodic language.
Yeah.
Right? So I think there's a sort of a kinship there when it comes to.
Well, there's a particular song that we play when we come to China that everybody knows, I mean,
tell me about that.
we don't. That's a very popular song in China, or in Asia. It's called "The Moon Represents My Heart." We would never play it in the States; they wouldn't recognize it. But when we play it here, everybody knows it. And when I learned it, I thought I really like this song. So again, I think it's a mutual love affair of a great melody.
That explains a lot. Now, I also know that you're a very good businessman. So you, of all people, know better than anyone that streaming has really changed the economics of the music industry, right? So it's presented revenue challenges for artists. So I'm wondering, how do you adapt? How do you stay profitable, competitive, but even relevant?
Yeah. Well, I had to get a day job now. No. So, I'm grateful that I grew up and had my music in the 80s and 90s and early 2000 when we weren't streaming and people were actually buying CDs. That was very good. That was a very good business. Not that I did it for the business, but once the creative part is satisfied to me, of course I would like it to sell as much as possible. So we sold a lot of records back in those days. It doesn't happen like that anymore. I'm grateful I had that time. Today, the streaming does not pay very much money to artists other than like the top billion streaming artists. I'm not one of those. I'm popular enough, but it's not much. So what do you do now? So you use your music now to let people know that you're still around. You use your branding to make deals with different companies, and you have partnerships that turn into profit. And that's kind of how you do it. You do your live shows, and hopefully you can make money out there. So that's kind of how you do it.
Interesting, because you're saying in the suite of revenue streams, that's just one part.
It is
You have
just
to
one
use
part.
it very selectively, I guess, in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because now, add to that, you've got back catalog sales, which are making a lot of news these days.
Yeah.
And, that's when the artist trades the rights to their music for amounts of money, hefty amounts of money. It's not for every artist, though, is what I'm getting. Is it something that you would consider as a sound business, but also artistic strategy?
Depends on the offer.
Yeah.
If I was going to get a $200 million offer, like I think who got one? Rod Stewart or one of those.
I think Pink
guys?
Floyd got 400 million.
Okay, I'll take half, and I'll sign away everything I've ever written.
Everything.
But I'm not in that category.
Yeah.
So I have not been offered enough for me to do that. So I actually own all of my music, and I have a company that manages all that. So it tracks when it gets played and who wants to use my music. If they want to use it in a movie, blah, blah, blah. And then there's fees for that, and the money comes in from there. I own everything. I'm open to an offer, but it would have to be an offer that
What would be that
doesn't make
magic
sense.
number?
Oh, I mean, if somebody offered me $100 million, I would take it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
And
it's
that's
out there
US
now.
dollars, not Singapore dollars.
Good point. And then throw that mix in. Let's throw artificial intelligence into this mix now. Someone has described it as a technological reckoning for the music industry. Pretty strong words. I mean, that's what they're saying.
Are they saying that in a way that they think that is good or bad?
That's the question that I'm going to ask you, because AI can even generate Grammy Award-winning songs, but also Grammy Award-winning musicians these days. It's really getting to that point. So when you see these progressions, does it concern you, or do you also see the opportunities in the technology?
Well, the AI-generated musicians to me is not a threat. But here's why. They can't sit and talk to Jill.
No.
They can't pick up a saxophone and go. They can't do that. Okay, so that's a real human thing. So I'm never worried about that. When it comes to technology, I like to use it for what can make my music better. For example, so we have our disc-based recording. It's a thing called Pro Tools. I don't know if you know what that is. So what that means is when I record one of my songs, if I don't like a couple of the notes, in the old days, they just either stayed there or you had to re-record the whole thing.
Right.
Now you can just go in there and pinpoint and fix, and I like that.
Okay.
For me, that's a plus.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't fix every note because then it becomes sterile, but I like that part of it.
So I don't know how you're going to feel about my next question, which is TikTok. Have you heard your music in a TikTok?
I don't know. I don't pay attention much to TikTok.
Okay, I'm asking you because today musicians create music specifically and solely to go viral on TikTok. So it's all shaped and crafted in almost a jingle. To go viral on TikTok.
That's okay.
So I'm asking, don't you think that's kind of like a legitimate strategy to reach out to a younger audience?
Yeah.
But also, what do you think of the kind of music quality that's coming out?
No, I think that's good. And it can be, you can do 30 seconds of something in amazing quality. So I don't think the quality is an issue. No, I think that's a good strategy. I will make an Instagram post and I'll play something for 20 or 30 seconds because I know that it's important to keep yourself current. And people pay attention to that. Brands pay attention to that. They see who is he reaching, and then they would reach out to me and say, you know what, we want to hire you to be a spokesperson for us because of these things that we see you posting. Okay, and we either work a deal out or we don't.